channel Lightlink Vision. Today Mother will continue with part 3 on the subject of dying. So what happens to us when we die? Mother, welcome. I'm going to ask you, so you've talked about, you explained to us that it's more, we're being more analyzed on the moral side when we go on the other side. So if we realize that today and we want to change things because we know we're going to see what all that we've done in our lives, and I think we're going to suffer. So is there a way that we can change things? Is it too late to understand this this concept that we forgot? Because like you mentioned, we know it in our subconscious. It's somewhere in there because many people believe in it, and many people believe in the reincarnation, but it's the karma plus reincarnation, so it's difficult to understand, to really figure out what, if we can do something to change our lives so that we don't regret too many things that we've done. So what would be your recommendations?
Well, I think what we can do best is introduce other values in our life. If you want to, as you might say, prepare for the reality that you will find yourself back in after death, after physical death. If you want to have an idea of the world people you love and that have died live in, you can make yourself already in this physical existence an idea about the reality of this other world for yourself or for others who are still who are already in it. If you can gradually open yourself up for less materialistic values, because you will see that material wealth or material affairs are a reality in this world, because it's a world of tangible or of physical things you can touch and see. But when you leave your body, you will not have a physical body anymore, and so you enter in another reality which is as real as it is reality, but not in a physical way. So if you analyze this reality, this truth, you will immediately understand that everything that you think important in a material and physical way in this world immediately will not have no importance in the other world, because it is not physical. Now, if you deepen out this vision, this idea, you will see that if you become less materialistic, you will automatically prepare for this other existence. That does not mean that material things are worthless, but it has to do with the fact that you should not put them at the center of your life and pass your whole life running behind material things. If your main quest in this life is gaining money or having a big house and a big car and all kinds of things that only are a part of this physical existence, then you can be sure that when you come into the other world, you will be like a beggar, because you don't have anything. You will immediately see that nothing you have done in this life, physical life, has any worth there. And that's frightening. Whereas, if you try to introduce already here, in the midst of your wealth, other values, then you will see that if you come on the other side, that something is still there that you already had on earth, and that has a worth on the other side. And that has to do, as I already said in the second video, with moral qualities. You can say 200 or 300 years ago, people still lived on a daily basis with the idea that it was better to be a good man or a good woman. Not to steal, not to lie, to be honest, to be just, to be generous. Nowadays men will say, oh, well, they did that because they were obliged to do it, because the church had this doctrine and they had to obey. I say no. Whatever the church might have said or not said, this is a reality, the reality of the soul. These are the values you will meet when you pass over, when you die. And you will see that that is what is giving meaning to this reality also, this physical reality. But you prefer to forget it. You preferred not to think about it because you were attracted by material wealth, and you have put that in the center of your life, and you prefer not to see the rest. Even if you have to steal, be unjust, lie, to obtain your wealth, you prefer not to know it. That is the problem. If you can be a wealthy man and at the same time be an honest man, then there is no problem. You will live well in this world, and when you go to the other world, you will see that everything is okay. And that is not the church that has widespread this theory. It is a basic knowing that all souls that make part of humanity have always known throughout the ages. Religions have come and have gone. Forms of really religious belief have always existed. But that are just forms. What has been the same all over the history, in all cultures, is this deep moral belief that it is better to be a good man on earth than to be a bad man. And that has nothing to do, as I said, with religion. And that reality is the truth. Now, in this modern world, as I already said, for over the last 150 years, we more and more try to forget that. Because our reasoning is lying around the problem, is telling us that this has no worth anymore, that are stories for children. But where did it lead us? It leads us nowhere. And that's what we're trying. We try not to see it, but if we are honest, we found ourselves at this moment back in a world that has almost lost its meaning, and we prefer not to see it. Because if we create for ourselves a Darwinistic society in which the law of the most strongest, in an almost criminal way, becomes the ultimate goal in our life, well, then we're not heading in the right direction. And that's, I think, what we are becoming aware of, little by little, that we're not sitting on the right chair. Something's wrong with our world. And I think many people somehow feel it. And that has only to do with morality. If you go to a bank, you put your money there, and they give you the feeling that you're worthless, and you don't even know if you will get your money back. the day you ask it. Something is wrong, I think, with this world. And that's only one example. There are so many things nowadays that are completely distorted, because somehow you do not know if you have to do with honest people in front of you. And it has to do that you will find this back in any field of existence. Because in our world, it is not necessary anymore to be a good man or a good woman. And that is the basic difference between nowadays and the past. In the past, even when people were cheating and lying, somehow everybody knew, and they themselves knew it, that this was not the right thing to do. Whereas nowadays, the immoral is normal, is the law. And that's what makes modern men very insecure and sick. Because we, on a deeper level, we all have the feeling we can't trust anybody anymore. It's horrendous, and we don't even realize it. And this, again, this has nothing to do with religious forms, because it has existed all over the ages, all over the world. And I think this is what is in the most, on the deepest level, part of a human being. If you cannot be a good woman or man anymore, or you do not strive to be that, or you can't teach your children anymore that is the best thing to do, to act, to be in this world, then something is completely has gotten out of hand. And that will lead us automatically to a great fear for death. Because on the other side, once you have left your body, you will see that you have created for yourself an existence that has no word. No word. Because you have done nothing with your life. I think the biggest deception a human soul can undergo when the soul dies on the physical level and comes and arrives in the other world is to see that this life has brought nothing, has added nothing that's worthful to the soul itself. In the same way as in this physical world, if you gain a certain weight in a material sense over your life, or in the course of a lifetime, if you get a bit more rich, well, that gives a good feeling that you're not. If you start as a poor man and you die without anything, well, that's not a very that doesn't give a very good feeling for a human being. I do not mean that you have to become rich, but at least that you can eat normal and live in normal conditions. That is some kind of positive result of your life in a material way. But the same thing counts for the soul. If as a soul living in this world, you don't do anything to become a bit better in one way or another. When you're Cupid, when you don't do anything to become a little bit more generous, when you're careless and you don't try to care a bit more. I mean, there are many human factors of which you feel that you could do better. Now, what seems to have no meaning in this world has an enormous meaning in the other world. And not only it has an enormous meaning, but it is almost the sense of this life. Even in the midst of material wealth, if you're not honest, if you're lying, if you're cheating, if you're doing wrong to the people around you, you will see when you come to the other side that your whole life is wasted. That you don't have a penny in a moral way. And that's an enormous deception after death. So when you can introduce moral values in your life, whether you have money or not, whether you have brains or not, whether you are strong and healthy and beautiful, whatever, you can have or not have in this material world anything you want, as long as you earn it honestly and you treat it well and you share it with others. Then there's no problem. So I will be the last person to say that wealth is wrong and being poor is right. It's not about that. It has to do with how do you deal with the things in your life. How did you obtain them? And once you have it, what do you do? Well, those values come out of this other world, the world of the soul, that you will go back to after your death. And now if you can try to give them a place in this life, then you prepare for life after death. And then you can change your fear for death in this certainty that everything is all right. And that you can go on walking your path through eternity without being worried.
But you can also, like when you go on the other side and you can see what you did wrong, you can choose to come back and get lessons so that you change that behavior.
Of course you can, and that is what happens in many cases. But if you can already now change something, that is better, because then you can create yourself an existence in which you do not have to repair all the time all the errors of the past. I mean, what we have talked about in our videos about karma, when we say what has not been ideal in this life, we can do better in the next life. Yes, that's reality, but it's even better when I already try to do it better in this life. Because then I do not have to lead a life. And when I come on the other side after death, I do not have this enormous confrontation with all my ignorance, all my errors, everything I have to repair. I would say no, apply it right now. Don't wait for the next life.
Well, thank you, Mother. Now that we know, we can, we're like a length ahead, thanks to you. So thank you so much for your wisdom and your life. So I hope that you appreciate Mother's wisdom, and please share with your family, your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you very soon for another very interesting subject with Mother. Thank you.
Wherever you go, you're in my thoughts. Your spirit is free, although you go your way. Follow the path straight on, don't look aside. And at the end there'll be shining a light. And at the end there'll be shining a light. If you may doubt sometimes, He will ease your mind. Wipe all the tears away, leave it all behind. Wherever you go, each step is new. Think of what's still to come, of all that can be done. Think of all that is still there waiting out for you. We are like pearls